Hello, Matt Check here, TPI certified golf fitness professional. Today, this video has been made for the Duffers group at the Atlanta Athletic Club, and I'm going to do a daily stretch that needs to be done 4 to 5 times a week if you want to get the most out of your body and get the most out of your golf game. Now, as you can see, this can be done at home. That's why I'm doing this at home. I went ahead and put 16 different stretches right on the list here, and I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to go through this, and we'll see how fast we can do it. These are all stretches that I have came up with from studying from some of the best out there. The only two ingredients that you need is going to be a chair and a golf club. So let's go ahead and get started. As about the first 14 of these are all just on the ground stretches, and then we'll stand up and finish with two power exercises, if you want to call it such. So we get down on all fours, quadruped stance. We get the hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips, and we're going to go arch up like a cow and round down like a cat. So we go up, chin up, tailbone up, and chin in, tailbone in. We're going to go back and forth through these, making sure we're inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth, and getting the T-spine, which is the upper back, and the lumbar spine, which is the lower back, all into these posterior and anterior tilts. Very important that we have great mobility of the spine between flexion and extension. So we're going to go ahead and do these 10 to 12. And those are called cat-cows. From here, we get to a stable position where our back is as flat as we can make it, and we're going to go opposite arm and leg straight out and hold. And this is called bird dogs. And again, maybe a 10 to 12 second hold. And you want to make sure that your spine is a tabletop. And then you switch. For me, I like to pull my back toe down to the ground and then extend my fingers straight out. And make sure that the head is not up, as that puts extra stress. Everything needs to be flat. And being able to hold this position is going to give you some great stability in your golf swing. Again, this one is called bird dogs. The next thing we're going to do, I'll turn so you can see me. This is called around the clock wrist. We start in the same position, and we're going to take our fingers and go straight out to 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. And breathe. And then we work them both back to 6 o'clock, back towards you. And this really stretches those forearms, which in turn stretches the wrist and takes a lot of pressure off those ligaments in the elbow. And then we go to the back of the hands, and we get the back of those, whatever you want to call the back of the hand, straight down on the ground and get the real good flexion through here. Now, every now and then I might kind of take my fingers and make a fist, get the blood flowing really good in there. But the most important thing through all these stretches is that you're big inhale through the nose, kind of hold it for a second, and then a really strong exhale through the mouth, actually through the teeth. So you let that air come out really slowly. Okay, that one was called around the clock wrist. Now we're going to go into what we call child's pose. And I'm going to come back this way so you can see me. We're going to try to get those shoelaces down to the ground, sit our tailbone back into the heels, and very, very slowly just bring the elbows in and put yourself down as far as you can and just relax. I might put my fist here and rest my forehead on it, and you just breathe, and this really opens up the lower back, opens up the hamstrings, the shins, and everything in between. Couple deep breaths. Good. Now from here, we're going to go ahead and walk those arms out as far as we can get them without moving our body. And then that's going to give us our good extension through the shoulder cavity. Good. Now from here, you want to try to drop that forehead down as low as you can, hopefully to the ground. If not, you may need a block. And you're going to lift up one arm at a time with a straight arm. Right and left. right and left. Very important to have this overhead shoulders flexibility to keep the arms straight. And then the last one, you want to get both arms up in the air with them straight. Good. Now from here, that was called child's pose plus arm lifts. From here, we're going to do a swan dive. So you keep your hands out in front of you, and you're going to take your face down and nose to your thumbs. So down, try to get your spine and tailbone up. So your spine is almost like a long jump, like a skier going off a long jump. You want to imagine that skier coming down your tailbone, down your spine, and lifting off of your head into his jump. And you go back and forth. And this really helps to kind of get rid of any bit of rounding in the upper T-spine that we get on a day in, day out basis. So this one is called Swan Dives, back and forth. Again, I'm doing all these about 10 to 12 times on a normal basis. From here, we go to what we call downward facing dog. From here, you're going to try to go ahead and get the feet flat and lift your knees off the ground. So you're only on your hands and knees in what we call an upside down V. Now, most importantly off the bat here is that you kind of bend your knees and bring your chest as close to your thighs as possible. The goal here is to get the spine and the arms in one line. And then from there, we'll kind of come up, and now we can work on those calves, and we go left heel down and right heel down. This is really good to kind of loosen up the Achilles, the calves, the hamstrings, and everything. And if you get really good at this, maybe then you can go both heels down and chest to your thighs and get in this really good downward facing dog pose. Good. Okay, so that's all we're going to do on our hands and knees. Now we get to fall to our back. This is the fun time. Again, we're going to fall to our back, and we get to use gravity in the ground to really help it straighten out our spine. So from here, you're just going to pull your knees into your chest, grab those arms around the knees, and relax. In through the nose. These real loud breaths through the mouth. And then this one is called rock the cradle, because from here we're going to use our core stability. We're going to rock to the right and rock to the left. And if you have a good strong core, you can go ahead and not use your elbows and to fall over and really go back and forth. And this is kind of a squeegee of the spine and a massage of those muscles that run up and down the spine. So again, this one is called rock the cradle. From here, we're going to go ahead and put our feet down flat, keep the knees up. And we're going to cross the right leg over the left, like we'd be sitting and crossing the legs. And we're going to let those legs fall towards the foot that is on the ground. So I'm going to take my left hand over my right knee, which is crossed over the left leg. And I'm going to pull that right knee all the way to the ground on the left side while I keep my right arm extended the other way. This is a good disassociation exercise. It's called open books because we have the legs of one side of the book and the upper body open to the other side of the book. And from here, you can just go close the page with the arm and open the page with the arm, back and forth. Now, the hardest part of this is opening the page. So you want to exhale as you're opening, and that's going to help you get to a further stretch. So inhale as you close the page. And then as you open that page, open that arm, exhale, and you'll feel that arm go even farther. Very good. Then we come back, feet flat, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So now cross that left leg over the right knee, pull that left knee to the ground on the right side, and take the left arm and open the book. Again, those are called open books. From here, the next thing we're going to do is single leg drops. So as you're feeling the lower back compared to the ground, it's very important that we get that lower back flat as much as possible. We don't want it arched up off the ground too often. We want to try to keep the lower back flat. That's going to go ahead and make sure that they're in a very safe position. And the lower back flat, and then we use our hands as support, and we lift those legs straight up. Now this is really good just to hold it here. If you can keep these arms straight, if you keep these legs straight, you have great hamstring mobility, and you let the kind of inflammation with gravity come back down to your midsection here and get those legs to really loosen up a lot. But the single leg drop is the name of this exercise. So we're going to keep one leg vertical and try to drop the other one very slowly. Not all the way to the ground, just somewhere where you feel comfortable. Again, with this one leg up, we can keep that lower back pretty stable, close to the ground, and we're in a very safe position here. So we drop a few with one side, and then drop a few with the other leg. Again, as much as this is supposed to be a hamstring exercise, I feel it in my core more than anything, which is a very strong part in the golf swing. Good, so those are called single leg drops. From here, we're going to go ahead and keep the knees up, feet flat, so the lower back can stay nice and flat on the ground. And we're going to take our arms into a diamond, so our two index fingers touch each other, elbows bent, looking like a diamond. And we're going to try to drop those arms overhead all the way to the ground and hold. Now the lungs are wide open, and you can go ahead, and if you're a little bit tired from the previous exercise, you can get all your oxygen back. So big inhale with the lungs open. And that loud exhale through the teeth. Good. Again, in golf, it's so important that your shoulders are very, very mobile, that we can get them overhead without any issue, so we can have that really long backswing without breaking down the elbow joints. Okay, this one's called diamond overhead, and we can move right on to the next one. And this one's very simply called arm lifts. So do you want to take these arms and get them as straight as possible, palms facing each other right on top of your chest. And you're going to go ahead and just drop these arms straight back to the ground. Again, we want to inhale as we drop them back while we're filling up the lungs, and up as we exhale. Very simple if you do it often. If you don't do this very often, you'll see the compensation start happening through different parts of your body because your shoulders have become locked up over time. Okay, so these ones are just simply called arm lifts. As you get more into this, maybe a few weeks down the road, maybe you put a 10-pound weight in your hand and you do the same thing to get a little bit more shoulder strengthening out of it. The next thing we're going to do is called the glute bridge. Again, it's very important that the lower back is flat, hands down to the side for support, and we can go ahead and lift our glutes off the ground, and we put ourselves into this position called a glute bridge. This is going to just teach you how to activate your glutes. So if you want, you might go ahead and tap your glutes and make sure that they're not loose and you're not using your lower back, but you're squeezing your glutes, squeezing anything below the waist here. This is just very critical that we have strong glutes that can hold us up and to have any power in a golf swing. My goal for this one is to relax and do it for 2 straight minutes. So a 2-minute glute bridge. Every now and then you may want to make it harder by just doing a single leg glute bridge, extending one leg straight out while keeping the thighs in line, or the other side. But again, it's probably beneficial enough just to hold and squeeze anything below the lower body, below your waist for 2 straight minutes. That one is called the glute bridge. Moving on, we get to go ahead and sit on up now. And we're going to go ahead and try to cross our legs as much as we can. Again, crossing our legs is very good for our hips. And we sit nice and tall through the lower back and upper back. And from here, we're going to move our chin as far to the left as possible, and then down to our collarbone. And then we'll come back to the middle, as far to the other side as possible, and down to our collarbone. Having good neck flexibility is also very important when keeping your head still in the golf swing. If you're trying to turn the left shoulder under the chin, you may want to make sure that you have good neck mobility before anything else. So again, that one's just called chin to shoulder. So you rotate your chin to the left and drop to the left clavicle. To the right, drop down to the right. Okay, moving on here. This next one's called 90-90 hips. What we're going to do is we're going to lean back, put our hands behind us to give us a little bit of extra support. And you're going to take these heels and you're going to get them as wide as you can and keep the knees up. From here, we're going to try to drop our knees the same direction. And as they drop down, you'll go ahead and make a 290-degree angles with your legs. And you'll start feeling this all through your hips. And then you kind of lift those knees up, try to keep the heels right where they were, and go down to the other side. As a male, it is very difficult to do this compared to a female. So it's very important that we go ahead and get these hips really loosened up on a daily basis. Okay, that one is called the 90-90 hips. Already we're done with 14 different golf intensive stretches. And if you just did those, that'll be fine. But if you want to really add some power to your golf game, these last two are something that you can do to really add some power. And I'd only do these once or twice a week. The first one is called an overhead lunge. So you have the arms straight overhead with a golf club. You can't quite see my hands in this video, but the arms are straight over my head. And I like to do this actually outside where I can lunge around. But if you don't, you can just go into your lunge position here. And as you get into this lunge position, you'll never let the front knee go over the front toe. You want the back knee to drop straight down, and you just go up and down. Make sure your toes, your gait is facing forward, and you try to keep those arms locked out above your head. So your chest should really just be moving up and down. And this is a very good power exercise all through the body that's going to help you make a huge, strong golf swing. And we can go to the other side and do the same thing. Boom. Make sure your front knee is facing right out to your second toe. As you go down, you don't want your knee buckled in or out. And make sure that back knee is getting straight down to the ground as well. Good. That one's called our overhead lunge. The very last one that we want to do is we go ahead and we put the chair right behind us. And we're going to cross these arms over. And we're just going to do air squats. No need for weights when it comes to squats. Just activating, doing multiple reps in a short period of time. That's going to give us the best advantage on the golf course. Golf club weighs less than a pound, and you're swinging everything quick twitch. We don't need a huge load through weights. We would rather do high reps in a short amount of time to get the fast twitch muscles going. So you get your feet out. You want your toes pointed wherever your knees are going to go down. And you're going to try to keep your chest up, elbows up, and you touch this chair over and over again. And for me, I try to do this 50 times without stopping. If you want to break it up and just do 20 at a time, that's fine too. So this is just very easily called air squats. That's all you got to do 4 to 5 times a week, and you'll be ready for the golf course. I really appreciate you watching this. Again, if you want a personalized lesson, come and see me. We can go over everything a little bit more directly, but this is just to kind of get you started in the right direction. If you're that guy that wants to know, what can I do to make my body more physically fit for the golf course? So thank you for watching.